Hello. Chainsaw Man chapter 225 came out today, and we are going to quickly go over it. Uh, bu- bu- bu. Let's see. So the chapter opens with legs disappearing. Um, Yoru was still aware that there used to be something that people used to have that helped them travel around, but she don't remember the concept of legs. So she crawls her way to Denji, and while she's doing that, Denji eats more devils, one of them being the teeth devil, so that Yoru is now unable to speak properly. At first, I thought this is just like Denji erasing maybe a letter. Maybe he erased the letter C or the Japanese equivalent. Um, but that would be teeth make more sense because the number of people that are afraid of a specific letter is probably not that high. But anyways, Yoru resummons the chainsaw motorcycle back into where she is, and she uses it to carry herself to where Denji is and rams into him with it. And then she shoves her arm down Denji's throat, his now teethless mouth. So this is kind of wrong because I drew Denji with teeth. But anyways, she shoved her hand into Denji's mouth and make him throw up the remaining devils that he just ate. So we now have legs and teeth back, thankfully, because I don't know how much longer I can handle reading that. But anyways, Denji says that the devils that he have around are too little. He needs to eat bigger, the real devils. So he's going to hell to do that, and he jumps through one of the portals into hell, which Yoru follows, and they end up on this apartment platform thingy, which I'm not really sure what this is. At first, I thought that this might be like the beach. That's like sand, and then that's like the portal they can just step off onto the sand, which is my first reaction. But upon further review of this panel, it does look like there's some distance between the platform and the ground potentially. My biggest question is like why Denji is just standing here waiting for Yoru seemingly. So it might be that he can't get off this quite yet. So I'm thinking they are on like a floating apartment that's really high up above the ground. It's where Yoru is like kneeling at. There's like a hole here on the platform. So I'm not like too sure. I'm like 30% on this being like a floating thingy. But I'm not sure what's underneath either. It could be really anything. Could be the ocean, could be like lava, could be sand. Who knows? But given that Denji is finally in hell again, this is probably a good time to finally revisit his promise to power, which he said he would find the next iteration of the Blood Devil, and maybe even Nayuta while he's at it, because he did ask Yoru before about meeting his deceased devil friends. But beyond just meeting Nayuta and Power and whatever other devil friends he may have had, like Beam and maybe Angel, I'm not too sure on if Angel is dead at this point, to be honest, but I'm thinking Denji might meet more of his, like, some of the devils that he's killed in the past, because the past couple chapters, there's been some degree of attention to Yoru's relationship with her devils. She think of them as her comrades. There's like some level of humanization for the devils. So I'm thinking maybe Denji will come across some of his victims, quotation mark, and assess maybe like how guilty he feels about killing them, is what I'm thinking. But yeah, that's about all I have for now. I also find this panel of Denji running really funny. This chapter does have a level of slapstick comedy going on, like Yoru crawling to Denji without legs, or shoving her hand down Denji's throat to make him like barf. I think this is a really fun chapter for me. But yeah, excited about what we see in Hell. I saw some people bring up the possibility of meeting the Darkness Devil again, but I do hope that maybe Fujimoto hold back on that a little bit, because this is a good chance to really get into like the other really cosmic terror stuff of Chainsaw Man. But anyways, that's about all I have for this chapter specifically. Let's take a look at some of the chat. I wonder if Denji's plan is to throw up the death and drop her in hell, possibly canceling Nostradamus' prophecy. That's a good possibility, but at the same time, I think because I think from this chapter, Denji himself doesn't remember like what the devils he ate are. Let me double check that. Because he didn't remember like what he ate specifically, because Yoru asked him if he ate like the devils strapped to him, and he's like, they weren't in my vomit. So I'm not sure, because we know Pochita definitely remembers like the devils he eats and the concept that they represent, but I'm not sure if Denji is quite there yet. But I do think that's a really good point, in that we know the Death Devil has activated her powers in the past, and I'm not sure how her powers work in Hell actually, because if it activates on Earth, everything just dies. But Hell is like really big as well, and there are devils that are immune to death that have never died before. So if her powers have activated in Hell, then like it wouldn't affect all of Hell, I don't think. So maybe Hell is just a lot bigger than Earth, and there's like a limited range for the Death Devil's activation to go off. Let's see. In Hell, Yoru would have a huge debuff since her arsenal is on Earth/America. Being in Hell would cut her powers dramatically. Yes, that's a good point, because she has been summoning like Michigan and the other Oregon, Virginias of the world. She probably can't do that in Hell unless she can like summon Florida to Hell. That'd be pretty funny to think about. And honestly, the people of Florida deserve it, I would say. But but yeah, that's a good point. It could be like a reverse of, well, actually, I was gonna say like a reverse of Pochita on Earth, but like for the most part, Pochita's powers still translate, even if his sphere is from like the devils in Hell, right? So I do think like the fear factor crosses over dimensionally. But you're right that like Yoru can't, physically summon the weapons and whatnot from Earth to Hell, as far as we know. Possibly. Chainsaw Man is the hero of hell, so this would put Denji at a huge advantage. In hell, there are extremely important devils, Blood, Control, and Bucky, calling back to the teaser for part 2. Yeah. We mentioned Control and Blood, but Bucky is another. Because Bucky was really heavily promoted on the, like, in the beginning of part 2, like, on the very first promo cover for part 2, it's like an image of Asa holding a chainsaw, and then there's like Bucky by her side. So, but at the same time, I feel like it's been enough time that maybe Fujimoto just dropped the idea of Bucky altogether. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see. Loved your voice, bro. Thank you. Actually, my voice is pretty bad this week because I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm actually pretty sick. I've been coughing and I've been snotting quite a lot the past week. So I do sound a little extra like 60-year-old today, I feel. But yeah. But I think that's about all I have to go over for this chapter specifically. I spend like 10-20 minutes trying to figure out what this is. I look at the doors a little bit to see like if it's the doors to any of Denji or Asa's apartment. I couldn't really find anything on that. I guess another first impression for this panel is like when Yoru fell into this pose, my first thought is like, did Asa come back to her body? So I think that is how much like the theme of Asa and falling have imprinted on me, at least. I don't know if anyone else came to that. I guess if you want to look really deeper into it, Yoru's scar is gone in this panel. But that could also just be, Fujimoto not bothering to draw in that detail. I'd say that's probably the more likely scenario. I remember there were other times where some of the readers like try to analyze characters by the number of moles on their face. I'm thinking like the Nayuta head scene specifically. And they were like, "Oh, Fujimoto didn't put a mole on her face, therefore this has to be a fake head." And then he fixed it in like the official volume release. So, in terms of like the finer details, I wouldn't look too close into it. I think that's the ocean, shore, edge of the sea. Yeah, at first I thought they were like I thought the platform was close enough that they can just step into it. But I think the way that Denji is just standing here instead of just doing his thing and like going after devils immediately, and the way that Yoru's kind of looking down. Plus, there's like a little chip on this part. And if it's like a stationary platform, if there's like a chip here, you would expect to see like rocks below it. So I do think there's some distance between where they're standing on and like the background. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about all I have for this week. Oh, I've been also still watching Evangelion. I'm on episode 9 now. Asuka just appeared. Uh, some thoughts on it without spoiling for anyone that may have not watched it yet. Um, Let me think. Because I've been like doing one episode every like 2 to 3 days. I've been trying to keep it slow so I can drag out my enjoyment of it longer. Oh, there was this one scene. It's I don't know if it's intended to be funny, but I found it like I just couldn't stop laughing. It's like Shinji, they sent Shinji out to fight an angel, and then like he immediately gets blasted in the chest, and then the people in the back are like, "Oh no, Shinji, bring him back in!" And then they just reverse the footage of him like coming out, and they're just the funniest shit I've ever seen. But otherwise, another unexpected thing for me is the character of Misato in Evangelion. I feel like I like her a lot less than I expected, but also I feel like she is the most interesting character in the show so far, at least where I'm at. Because she is like using Shinji, but at the same time, she feels she really genuinely does care about him. She has like there's some more conflicted feelings for her. So she's like a big surprise for me in terms of my I guess my personal feelings. She does remind me at first she reminds me of like Himeno a bit, but then she do feel to me like a Makima that actually like cared about Denji if she did. But we'll see where that goes. Um but yeah, but overall I really do see why people compare Chainsaw Man to Evangelion a lot. Cause I feel Shinji and Denji do have a lot of, similarities in terms of being pressured, forced to be like a hero figure. But yeah, I'll try to maybe speed up my viewing of that. I wish I can do like a watch along, but YouTube will probably hit me with a copyright right away.